Well, I guess it's my turn. I'm going to hike about 4.5 miles up that way, about a 3,500 foot elevation gain. It's going to be a lot of work. I've got my pack, I guess it's about 45 pounds. But it's going to be good. I've been looking forward to taking a trek like this by myself. I understand it's a beautiful walk. It's up Willow Creek to Willow Lake, and I'm going to camp up there and come on back down. It's just one night, but you know, the entire travel, the entire hike is solitude, and it's thought, and it's presence, and I really kind of need a getaway from the getaway somehow. Liz is on retreat. I left her at the monastery, and I won't see her for a month. Lots going to happen in between now and then, on and off the grounds of these ashrams. And for me, it starts with this little walk to take just a little bit of time for me after a hellacious, exciting, and I can't describe it any other way. An exciting week. It's an exciting time to be alive. And some things are brewing. It's going to be really interesting to see what those things are and how they manifest. I'm about 1.5 miles in, and I've told people one of the reasons that I hike is that you can come from one area on foot into another area, basically turn a corner or top a ridge, and the whole world changes. And I've been walking predominantly through these pine trees, and you can hear I'm a little out of breath. I just threw my backpack on the ground. But as I take you over this little ridge, you'll see that we're turning into an aspen stand, and the ridge was blocking a view that we're going to get in just a moment. We never saw that mountain before. And now we're going to hike down into this aspen stand. And that is where I'm headed. Is the valley below. Look at how beautiful that is. Well, I'm in. It's about 5 miles. The creek is called Willow Creek, and Willow Lake is just a few hundred feet up that way. I've got myself a nice place to camp. There were some beautiful waterfalls, and you can hear the water in the background. And it made me think about how, you know, these little trickles, there are snowfields that cause little trickles, and sometimes it comes right out of the rock, and sometimes it makes a waterfall, and you can see the staining on the rock from the water. But it all joins together in the stream, and it goes down the waterfall, and from what I understand, Willow Creek is probably emptying into the Rio Grande. It's not very far from here. So some of this water will end up in the ocean. Or the Gulf of Mexico, I guess. Not every droplet's going to make it. Some of it's going to evaporate away, and some of it will actually make it there. And other water will be added. And it's kind of like a collective consciousness. It all takes a different path up at this height where it starts. And it's a mirror image, really, because we start at what we consider the bottom and work our way up. But as the water gets together, it has more and more power, just like consciousness. When more and more people unite in consciousness, they have more power. And sooner or later, it's a raging river. And if you try and fight it, you're bouncing down the river. You can either paddle with it and move along with it, and then that's what they call having your spiritual will in line with the plan, and you're helping. Or you can paddle against it and do things that you know are wrong, and do things that you know are hurting you. And paddle as you might, you're going to be carried downstream anyway. That river of consciousness flows, and it's just like the path. So what's it really about? What are we talking about when we say reconnect? Why is it reconnect if you never felt connected before? Well, most spiritual learning really is remembering stuff that your soul already knows. We come back into contact with what we know. And that's why when a certain teacher or a certain teaching comes along, it rings a bell for you. And you just say, oh, I get it. This sounds so right. Even though you've never necessarily heard that particular speaker or that particular talk, that particular point. It just rings true for you. So follow your heart and your head. Kind of get out of your gut. And start moving along with the stream. Stop fighting everything as it goes by. And try and reconnect with what you already know. Most of these teachings, when I hear them, my intuition already knew that. And some of it is justification for old wives' tales. But you know what? Those stories are how information used to be passed. How the scriptures are stories and how the oral traditions and legends grow. That was how that kind of information was conveyed. And has to be done metaphorically, like a stream. We're all flowing in the same direction. We'll converge sooner or later and then melt into the one. Don Juan once told Carlos Castaneda, through a certain magical ceremony that they did, which involved drugs, that he could ride the water wherever the water went. And where is there not water? What that really means to me, if I can enter the consciousness of the water and be instantly wherever water is, that's a form of a unity consciousness teaching. And that's where we're all headed. Now Carlos, as was his way, he got lost in the water and got carried away. And it's not unlike Narcissus falling into the water after he saw his reflection in the pool. So what the heck am I doing up here? Walk 5 miles by myself just to be alone up on a mountainside? We'll look around. You know, there's very little that puts me more in awe than the mountains, the power of nature. It's a beautiful thing. When you get out into the peaceful areas like this, a 4-point buck just walked into my campsite and said hi. But there's more to it. In a sense, I'm trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing. Because you could just be running off like a basket case because your father died. Or you could truly be interested in teaching and helping people. And it's not just to prove how smart your dad was. And I'm usually on the right track with that. I got a strong relationship with my wife, and I got a strong family. But every once in a while, you still got to take a pulse and say, hey, what the heck am I doing? And this is how I do it. Climbing up to places like this and getting a little bit of peace. Sometimes we just got to take the time. Sometimes we just got to decompress. And if you're not giving yourself a chance to do that, you're going to have issues, and they're going to come out. I don't get sick, because I take my breaks when I need to. I can't believe I'm here.